Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. We're a day back because of the holiday. Hopefully everybody had a good, safe 4th of July. Larson, throw up your digits. I want to make sure you didn't blow any of your fingers off. Okay, we got 10. I got 10. Hopefully the friendos out there didn't blow off
for the first
fingers.
time in many years, I did not handle a single pyrotechnic this year.
Really? You had people doing it for you on your behalf?
We just walked down the street that some friends of ours lived on, not a random street, and partook in some pyrotechnics. Just stood there and watched. I didn't touch one. Last year was a different story.
Yeah. Last year
that was quite an extravaganza last year.
Yeah. So hopefully everybody had a good holiday. If you did in fact celebrate 4th of July, otherwise hopefully everybody just had a good Tuesday. We had an Ask Stephen Larson go up because we were doing the festivity stuff, but we're back at it. One day late reviewing the Monday Night Raw, but what a Monday Night Raw it was. Some good matches, interesting angles. We'll talk about that here in a second. But if I'm not mistaken, Larson, I believe the first thing on the agenda was talk about a possible record that AEW's All In might be breaking soon.
That's entirely possible. So All In continues to sell an impressive amount of tickets for the company's United Kingdom debut. WrestleTix reported that AEW has sold nearly, not quite, but nearly 75,000 tickets for the event, which would make it the second largest wrestling show at Wembley behind only SummerSlam 92 in terms of paid attendance. WrestleTix also notes that Wembley is currently set up for 825 fans, so there's a possibility that All In, if it were to sell upwards of 83,000 tickets, I believe, it definitely, if it sells out, set a new record for attendance for a wrestling show at Wembley Stadium. So that's good news for AEW. That's awesome.
Is there, we talked about this a little bit before the show, is there any broader record it might set? Because I'd seen something on Twitter, you'd seen sort of the same thing, but
and I double-checked on it. Yeah. I don't know, because it's hard to tell because WWE, they kayfabe all their attendance numbers.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so if All In sells out, I believe it would be the largest paid wrestling crowd for a show that wasn't a WWE show.
Okay.
If it gets to 87,000, is that what it is? 87,825 fans.
Yeah.
I believe WrestleMania 32 sold well north of 90,000 tickets. I believe it was Meltzer that reported on that.
The kayfabe attendance on that was like over 100, but
it was like 101,000. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I think that has a record for the largest paid wrestling crowd.
Okay.
Let's talk some bad news for AEW. Let's talk Collision. Collision week 3 not going very well at all this week.
What's that smell? Oh god, something smells horrible.
Yeah.
It's Collision's rating for the
Collision's
week.
rating. So this week's episode garnered 452,000 viewers with an 1849 demo number of 0.13. Here's some context for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those numbers were nearly identical to Friday's Rampage.
Yeah.
Average 450,000 viewers and the exact same demo number. And Rampage doesn't have the luxury of having Phil Brooks on the show.
No CM Punk on Rampage. So look, there are some qualifiers here. It was taped.
Man, SmackDown was taped too, and that got a huge number.
You're right. And I had said, look, Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong. I would be there front row if I could.
Yeah.
That ain't a drawing match, though. It isn't. I'm sorry, it's not. It just isn't.
Well, here it is. It could be a drawing match if there was a story building up to it.
That would have to be an epic story because just from a draw perspective, those are not names unless they spend 6 months building that story that it's going to draw. And so, but that's on the promoter for putting that there and not doing some CM Punk singles matches if they think that's going to be the thing. I do think like one qualifier, and I do kind of think that this is, something to be said for Money in the Bank was the same day. It ended an hour before this began.
Well, no, because it ended at 3:30 our time.
Yeah,
and so it'd be because
Collision starts 5 our time.
But that's 8 East Coast.
Well, as is it's the same amount of difference there. Money in the Bank ends an hour and a half before Collision is my point. And look, I'm not blaming that. I'm really not. But I think that there could be said, look, it's going to get worse when college football comes around.
Oh, you got that right. 300,000.
This ain't good. And I was sort of trying to find some on Twitter, as such as it is these days. Okay, so last week when Collision dropped a shit rating too, it wasn't as shit as this, but it was still like, okay, well, it was still like the top programming on TNT, on Turner Networks.
Yeah.
For that day, that time slot. And I was like, is there any similar context here? And I really couldn't find anything good, buddy. It says, so this is Brandon Thurston, who's kind of an authority on this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Brandon Thurston does great work, yes.
And he says this on Twitter: TNT reruns in Saturday primetime on TNT that made the weekly top 200 reruns in the last 12 months. Recent missing weeks here, the floor for the top. Okay, so the bottom line is this: for Collision to have a real value add for AEW WBD's deal, Collision has to significantly outperform this, much lower cost to re-air movies and more profitable if they deliver a similar rating. So the bottom line is you got to put on your promoter hat and start promoting some good shows.
So to put it another way, TNT can make more money if they do another replay of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Which is they're always playing these days.
Yeah.
Where they've already done the licensing fee for that. If that can get 500,000 viewers or roughly that, that'll make more money for them than AEW doing 450.
Yeah. I'll be honest, man. You gotta, number one, these Saturday shows. I don't know why they taped this one. You gotta make them live. You gotta make CM. If CM Punk's gonna be your selling point. I saw this sentiment a couple times on Twitter. He just seems like some guy at this point. This past week especially, and the crowd reaction was as such. He came walking out there to make a save, and everybody thought he worked for security or something.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing special about him right now.
No.
And
nothing.
you can build him to that point, but you got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort. You got to get these shows live, and you got to make them feel special. They got like a Battle of the Belts coming up that's going to go back to back with Collision. I don't know when, in a couple weeks.
Just a couple weeks.
Yeah. And, there's going to be 3 hours of straight AEW on a Saturday, but I mean, at least I think it's all going to be live. So they got that going for it.
Maybe. But what does Battle of the Belts get? 250,000, 300,000? Because usually it's on so late.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. But yeah, the thing is, you can't just put on the show. You got to make the show matter. That's the bottom line. You got to make the show matter. If you're not going to put effort into making the show matter, which is better for everybody, then you're not going to get anywhere. So
is Zaslav going to give CM Punk a new name? $500,000 Phil?
Whoa! Ouch! $500,000 Phil. Oof! Oh, that hurts. Look, oof. Man, I know,
where's the lie?
I'm laughing about this, but it's one of those things where it's like, what do you expect?
I know. You can't just put wrestling programming on and expect people to watch. You got to make the programming feel substantial. You have to make the stories matter.
You really do. Yeah.
If we've learned anything about wrestling booking over the last 3 years, with the ebb and flow of WWE's numbers, especially, storytelling is what brings people in. And honestly, tell compelling stories, people will watch.
And I take no delight in the failure of this so far.
No.
What is absurdly funny is the hubris. It's just when people think they got it all figured out and they're arrogant about it, even though there are blatant signs that their product just isn't hot and it's not compelling. And they're like, oh, we're going to double down. And then we're going to toss a bunch of more shit up on the screen. Yeah. It's like, dude, if we learned anything from, and if you want, back in late 2021, you and I were endlessly talking about how great AEW was and how shit WWE was. So it flips just like that. Okay, we're about to talk about a pretty damn good Raw,
Yep.
And maybe in another year it'll flip again. That's just how it goes sometimes.
It's the ebb and flow of the wrestling business.
Yeah, it is. So you guys want to say, oh, you guys are dumping on AEW the same way we dumped on WWE back in the day. Grow up. It's just what we do. But yeah, I don't know. They got to get, Tony Khan's got to get his shit together, and maybe some of the creative names he hired, maybe he can put them to use, or let them roll or something. I don't know what the deal is, but some changes need to be made there.
I know. Some changes do need to be made. Yeah, exactly. Because come college football season, NFL season, when they have some Saturday games, the collision number could be in huge trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
College football gets huge numbers.
It does.
NFL football, huge numbers.
Yeah.
We're going to have episodes of Collision in the 250,000s.
Yeesh.
Just watch out. That's what's going to happen. Before we get to the Raw highlights, Leisha Harding, gifting 5 memberships.
Oh, thank you,
so
Leisha.
much,
That's so nice of you.
So
That's so
absolutely
nice of you.
Thank you.
Highlights of Raw. Number 1, this breaks my heart. Are we looking at the end of Judgment Day? Are we looking at the collapse of Judgment Day? Larson, can you pitch me on the idea this might be some ruse? I had mentioned this before, the idea that Damian Priest winning Money in the Bank was going to lead to Judgment Day banding together, making it look like they were on the outs, and then one big stick it to Seth Rollins, but I don't know if that's the case. I think they might be fraying at the edges.
Yeah, that seems to be likely the case, because why would, even if it's the idea is for the betterment of the unit that is Judgment Day, why would Finn Balor book a situation with his Judgment Day the stablemates to cost him an opportunity to win the title, just for either him or Damian Priest to maybe win at some point down the line?
Yeah, I know. Logically, it doesn't really make sense.
In Money in the Bank, if not for Priest just taking that one step forward, you can make the argument Finn had that match won. No ruse necessary, no subterfuge.
Yeah, right.
Why go through, you start there and go through all those hoops to play mind games with Seth Rollins just to achieve the same ends?
Right, yeah.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That wouldn't make any sense, I know. And it bums me out, because it does seem like my favorite faction right now is falling apart.
It does seem that way. Here's the thing. It seems like the battle lines thus far are drawn as such. You got Finn on one side. You got the rest of Judgment Day on the other.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If that's how the breakup is going to go, that is the best probable outcome, because you keep Priest, Rhea, and Dom together, and they all have great chemistry. I'm not going to say they don't, because the 4 of them are fantastic together. I don't want them to break up.
Yeah.
But I think keeping Priest, Rhea, and Dom together is probably the best route to take if Judgment Day is going to stay together in some capacity, rather than have like Finn and Dom and Rhea. Just because maybe it's because I know like Priest and Rhea are like friends outside of, off camera.
Yeah.
That it just helps in my mind think, they have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
I feel like the 3 of them have really, really good chemistry. They have great chemistry with Finn too, but I feel like if you take Finn out of the equation, the chemistry isn't necessarily going to suffer.
Oh man, I don't want some half-assed Judgment Day. I don't want Finn to be gone.
But listen here, Steve, what if this happens? What if Finn says, all right, I'm not Judgment Day anymore. I'm going to start my own group.
Finn Too Deep with JD.
Finn Too Deep, yes. You got with Jordan Devlin.
Yeah.
They have someone else join them. They got a 3-on-3 feud going through the summer and fall. I mean, this is a glass half full scenario, but as Vermillion says, Judgment Day gold.
Judgment Day gold. Yeah, there you go.
That could be a lot of fun potentially.
I wonder, it's interesting because Carlos here in our Twitch chat also just mentioned wherever Dom goes, that's the heel half. It is kind of interesting that Judgment Day, they're such a complex group that they're able to play at so many different sides.
I know.
Rhea clearly super over as a good guy, but also is aligned with like the guy who gets the biggest boos in the place. Finn Balor, everybody loves Finn and they want to see him win that title, but at the same time, he's a bad guy and they love Seth Rollins, so they kind of don't also. Damian Priest, he can play at both sides as well. Like he gets he gets cheered when he's in matches against guys like Riddle, but then he'll leave and he'll tell Gunther to go pick the bones. And I love that about Judgment Day, that they're able to play at both sides so effortlessly. I think we're going to see something similar to that with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, who also had a strong segment this week.
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, I have no idea if whose idea it was. I'm sure it's probably been spoken about. Whose decision it was to kill the Shield at the height of their popularity. And maybe the philosophy behind this is, hey, they're the hottest act now. You start telling stories with them right now because that's when people will care the most. And I think there's probably something to be said about that, regardless of what the final outcome is going to be. But I mean, in terms of even Dom Mysterio, Dirty Dom, mission accomplished. Like, he has a character. He knows who he is. The crowd, boos the crap out of him. And he is such a vital part of their programming right now in that respect. So yeah, regardless what happens, I have no idea how this is all going to go down. If maybe if it is a ruse, having Seth Rollins on the verge, maybe the idea is, well, he was also on the verge last year when Austin Theory went to go cash in on him and he found a way to snake out. So whatever they do, they want to make sure they stick to a plan to get that title off of him because they know that he's savvy enough, as we saw this past week, to snake his way out of any situation. They want to make sure that he's locked down in a situation where they're going to be at odds. And then when he thinks he has them all down and against each other, they turn on him and they're like, no, guess what? There's no way out of this trap.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the situation and they're playing some 3D chess. I don't know. But
maybe. I don't know. But again, I don't know why they would resort to 3D chess when they could have had the title won at Money in the Bank. Here's an idea. What if Finn's faction is called Judgment Night and they come out to one of the songs from the soundtrack to the Judgment Night movie?
You can get, what was it? House of Pain and...
Helmet.
Helmet. That's right. They collaborated with Helmet.
Yep.
Yeah, you could do that. Wasn't Ice-T on that soundtrack?
Yes, with Slayer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, classic. A classic soundtrack for a not so classic movie.
Indeed.
Although I think people in the comments are going to dispute that. They're going to be like, "Oh, Judgment Night was awesome."
I don't remember anything about it. Remember the soundtrack though.
Let's talk about this. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey.
This was awesome.
We seem to have some sort of indication as to what direction this is going to go. And essentially, it's Shayna taking all of the gripes people have had about Ronda Rousey and using that as motivation to turn on Ronda Rousey. Like, you waltzed in here. People are bored of you on the mic. They can't stand you. You never had to set up a ring. You didn't have to pay your dues. I've been sitting here paying my dues. I broke through to get here. And screw you, I'm going to knee you in the head. What do you think about this take?
I mean, the delivery here from Shayna was fantastic.
It was.
The crowd bought into it immediately.
Yeah.
And the crowd got behind Shayna like within the first sentence. And immediately this feud had heat. I thought Ronda's how she carried herself during the segment was great. Shayna looked like $1 million with how she presented herself and how she delivered this promo. Like, there was the intensity there, the fire that you need. And instantly it's like, wow, there's tension here. And then when Shayna capped it all off with that knee to the face, that looked like it hit flush.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I love this segment. This was great. This is great. This is what Shayna needs. This is 1,000% what Shayna needs to get to the level where she should have been this whole time since being called up from NXT.
One thing that I loved about it was the amount of self-awareness there was in the promo. For Ronda Rousey, who, again, I haven't always been the biggest fan of. I've always felt that there were things about Ronda over the past 3 years or however long she's been around, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is. For her to, that Mania main event was in 2019, wasn't it? Yeah, because 2020 was, my goodness gracious, pandemic killed those 2 years, man. I felt like there have been flashes of her really feeling like sort of the big name that she was back in the day during her time in WWE. I've always felt like her in-ring stuff was fairly serviceable. I thought that she can conduct herself really well in the ring. It's just sometimes she's had an odd relationship with the fans where she seemingly hasn't wanted to be like a bad guy, but she's wanted to be the bad guy. And her promos are often a bit awkward.
Yeah.
That being said, on her way out, elevating the women's tag division and elevating Shayna Baszler to where she really should have been back in 2019 when she had her call up. Was it whatever that? Yeah, 2020. Is awesome. And to have the understanding of the criticisms and being able to sort of take those criticism and use them as a story to get her friend over and to use them against her, I think is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I think that level of self-awareness and confidence to take those criticisms, be they valid or not, and use them as Shayna's motivation, I think is terrific. It will only benefit Shayna, hugely, and really get her going to where she really should be, which is on the level of an Asuka, which is on the level of, a Rhea Ripley.
A Rhea Ripley, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And get her where she should be. And I hope to see that for Shayna. I really do.
Totally. And yet, like I said, like how this was all set up, I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be a Ronda promo. Shayna interrupts immediately with urgency, with purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And says what she has to say with conviction.
Yeah.
And you as a viewer, I know I did. I assume you did too, Steve. And those in the attendance seemed like they did too. Bought into it from sentence one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was excellently delivered. And yeah, hopefully this is the start of something huge for Shayna.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the actual rest of the show, let's go ahead and pay some bills, Larson. What do you say?
Let's do it. Well, let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Steve, I've been talking about accidents. I've been in, I've witnessed all this week and over the last few weeks. And I know you probably got some stories or two to tell about some of the accidents that you've maybe been a part of or witnessed or something like that. Yeah.
Accident free since 1978, man. Never had one accident.
Not one. Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
No.
I kind of seem to recall something about a stop sign and a burrito. And
it doesn't really ring a bell. Don't need to talk about that. That was a long time ago.
Well,
move on.
It's nothing to be embarrassed by, Steve, because that's been my point this whole time. Accidents can and do happen to anyone at any time, and you can be injured due to those accidents. Thankfully, I haven't been hurt due to any of the car accidents or other mishaps I've been in. But if you're ever injured, you can check out America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices nationwide, Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. Check this out, Steve. They've recovered more than $15 billion for their clients.
Oh, my goodness. And Morgan & Morgan has made it easy to submit a claim. It's more like ordering takeout than hiring a lawyer. In 8 clicks or less, you can submit a claim, and you could do it without having to get off your couch. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/raw or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone.
That's forthepeople.com/raw or #law, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
Also on Raw, a couple more notable moments. Brock Lesnar returned to set up a SummerSlam bout with Cody. Cody was looking to get a piece of that consolation Seth Rollins title, which he just claimed he didn't really care about.
I know.
But he was like, might as well. This will be an easy one on my road to Roman Reigns. But before he could really ask the crowd what they wanted to talk about, Brock Lesnar appeared, took him to Suplex City. Cody was able to battle him back. Brock gave his cowboy hat to a little kid, then snatched it right back and then took off, setting up, no doubt, a SummerSlam match between Cody. Actually had 2 entrances.
I know. He had one in full gear here at the beginning of the show, and then later on did an interview in a suit.
Yeah. And so, it looks like we're getting Cody versus Brock at SummerSlam. Not a big surprise there.
No.
I just hope this is the match that, obviously Cody's going to win it, but I really want to see him work his ass off to win this thing.
I know.
I know at the Royal Rumble, people had an issue with him coming out at number 30. But he did have, like a 10-minute mini match. Not mini match. 10 minutes is a straight up match these days. It was at the pay-per-view for Gunther. But he had a 10-minute, fairly physical match with Gunther. if they could do like 15-18 with Brock, where, you know, he really has to overcome.
He has to scratch and claw to get that W. Yeah.
Have Brock start off with the Randy Orton treatment with the elbows coming down, and then maybe they're like, oh, we're going to stop this match, and Cody, hero that he is, you know, says no.
Blood pouring down his face. Yes.
Right. Exactly. The Crimson Mask. You know,
that's the way to go. Yeah. Cody has to fight from underneath, like as soon as the opening bell rings.
Yeah.
Because, and you know what? In hindsight, now Cody winning at 30. It's not that huge of a deal because he didn't win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when he enters the Rumble at number 1 or 2 next year and then wins it, that's going the distance, facing adversity.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Let's talk about a fantastic match that Rhea and Natalya put on during Raw. Natalya's kind of had this crisis of confidence thing where she's kind of had a bit of an existential crisis. Who am I? I know who I am, I think. I'm still a really good wrestler. I have yet to be able to prove that, though. So this was her, and I think in her mind, her last opportunity to prove to herself and to everybody in the WWE universe that she was still, what does she call herself? The best of all time.
Yeah. The GOAT.
And her and Rhea put on an absolute clinic.
Oh, man.
What a hell of a bout Rhea and Natalya put on. Hard hitting. The urgency was there before the opening bell because Natalya attacked her before the bell even rang. Fantastic stuff. Just absolutely fantastic stuff.
Man, I thought this match was killer. Fightful Select had a report about this match that backstage, you know, they everybody was really happy with it. They understood that they were working snug, but they both had a ton of fun doing it. Rhea Ripley lost one of her piercings, I think. She was bleeding. No, man, I loved this match. I thought it did so much for Rhea Ripley, and it did so much for Natalya. And you got to appreciate the story of, you know, Natalya, you know, dropping 2 turds to kick this off, and it's a simple story. It's a really simple story.
Yep.
You know, she lays 2 eggs, and then she comes out and proves why she's been around and why she has all those Guinness Book of World Records. And yeah, just an absolutely phenomenal match, a killer match. And I was into it from beginning to end, man. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was really good. It was fantastic. Fantastic stuff. I guess before we get to the breakdown of the show, here's a reminder to everybody, whether you're watching live here with us, VOD, if you could, there's a button. Looks like a thumbs up. That's the like button. If you could hit that button while you're watching this. Right now. If you're watching right now, please hit that button if you haven't done it.
Really does.
And if you have done it, do it twice so you can undo it and do it again. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Much appreciated. If you're new to Going in Raw, you like what you hear, you like what you see, consider hitting that subscribe button, notify bell, so you're made aware when we have new content up.
That'd be great. Absolutely. Also, earlier, Alicia gifted those 5 memberships, and those memberships will now get access to our bonus episodes, get access to our big predictions challenge. Of course, Brendan McClendon just won. Flannelly Dan just won the big Money in the Bank predictions challenge. By the way, Flannelly Dan, if you're out there, can you please hit us up on either Twitter or Patreon? I don't know exactly what land Flannelly Dan is coming from, if it's a Patreon or YouTube channel memberships. But if you can please get to us and let us know if you want your picture, you know, to go up on our socials with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Please let us know whatever picture you want. You can send it to us. But yeah, you get access to that stuff. And of course, our question threads for both our recap episodes and our special Ask Going in Raw weekly shows as well. So if you're on the Patreon, it's patreon.com/Steven Larson at $5 and up, or you can click join on the YouTube, youtube.com/Steven Larson. We also got some content up over at the Friendo Club Wrestling channel this Friday. Very exciting.
Can't wait.
I'm going to be in the hot seat.
I can't wait.
Guessing the star ratings for Dave Meltzer's review of Money in the Bank. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Our own star ratings for Money in the Bank are up right now, so you can check those out. And then later on today, we'll be dropping our we did a video where we looked at some of the most controversial takes in the world of wrestling from a Twitter thread that we saw last week.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. Some of that in-person content that people seem to want.
Yes, the in-person content people seem to like. Also for Overrun bonus content this Friday, we're bringing it back for the first time in a while. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
We used to do that on a weekly basis. Now it's kind of like when we remember to do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's still a lot of fun. I really like doing Going in Raw Math, the show this week, again on Friday, where you're talking about the New Day.
Oh, the New Day. Also want to give a shout out here to new patrons, Pretum Banger, John Devos, Joshua, Jeff J. You know, speaking of, that's one thing we didn't say about Collision. You know what could have helped that Collision rating?
100 Jeff Jarrett's.
Hell, I'll take one. Steven Savage, Dre Day. Thank you very much for your patrons. For your patronage. We appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Anyways.
Where's Jeff Jarrett been?
I don't know. Maybe he's holding out, man. He's
100 Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, I'll just take one. So anyways, Raw kicked off. Of course, they did a video tribute to Draws because he passed away. Darren Drozdov passed away this past week. Seth Rollins comes out. He says, Baltimore, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. Let me welcome you to the host of tonight's festivities. He says, how sweet.
Talking about himself. Yeah.
It's talking about himself. I should have made that clear. He says, how sweet was Money in the Bank? He talks about that a little bit. He says, a little birdie told me with SummerSlam 5 weeks away, I have only one thing on my mind. That's when Cody's music hits. Have you noticed now, especially since the UK crowd knew the lyrics, crowds are starting to pick up on the lyrics too. The Baltimore crowd knew a couple of the lyrics from his song, not quite to the level of the UK crowd.
Let me ask you this. Raw's in Sacramento.
Yeah.
You're in attendance. You want a seat right by the ramp there. So when Cody makes his entrance, there's a chance you get the weight belt, all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got your Cody cosplay on.
Or Cody or a little child cosplay. Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. What do you think?
Cody, give me your white belt, please. I'm a little child.
There you go.
Security.
Anyways.
I'm a little boy.
How far do you get? Do you think you can get the songs singing it, knowing all the lyrics correctly?
Adrenaline in my soul. Adrenaline in my soul. I know. Every
all right,
crowd.
That's not very far.
Adrenaline in my soul. Shit, I knew it.
Oh, wow. You just feel like you mumble along until you get to the woes. That's what you're saying at this point.
Out of control. Do it all again. No, do it all to get them off their feet. Crowd is here. About to blow.
Waiting for me to start the show.
Is that what it is?
Turn the lights, and camera on.
That sounds like the Muppets lyrics.
Let's mumble it to the woe.
I'll know it by then, man. All
right. I'm gonna be honest, Steve, as someone who says
that
Cody Rhodes is,
out the curtain, lights go out, I'm home. Whoa! Thank you, Maggie.
Steve, as Cody's #1 fan, I thought you'd have that song memorized by now.
Oh man, it's so bad.
Honestly a bit disappointing. Anyway, so Cody comes to the ring. He says, so Brock's music hits.
Damn, I know the lyrics to Brock's song.
So then Cody, he's got his jacket on. He takes it off. He runs after Brock on the ramp. They start brawling. Eventually, they make it back in the ring. Cody hits Brock with the Cody Cutter. Brock rolls out. Cody's screaming at him. And then Cody's music hits. And then Brock smiles. And, he puts his cowboy hat on the kid and then takes it back. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, after that,
Seth is kind of like hanging around ringside still while this is all happening.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look at what we just saw. Yeah.
And he's like, come back.
I was looking at to see if anybody in chat actually had the rest of the lyrics. So that was a crazy way to kick off the show. Wow, what a great time we're having. He says, looks like those guys have some unfinished business. But back to my business. I'm very much looking forward to seeing who's the next person in line. Then we get Judgment Day's music. Dom, Rhea, and Priest make their way out, and Rhea says, Seth, enough about you. We know everyone is here to see Judgment Day take over. And Seth's like, everyone? There's everyone in the arena. There's everyone watching at home, but you don't even have everyone in your own group. Where's Finn? I know he's prone to sneak attacks, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen tonight, is it? And Rhea's like, Finn's fine. He's not here tonight, but what he's up to is none of your business. And the Priest's like, Seth, don't concern yourself with Judgment Day business because that's our business. The only thing you need to concern yourself is with this. And he raises his case. And he's like, I know you know what time it is. You know how this works. If I decide to cash in on your title, it could happen at SummerSlam, the Survivor Series, the Rumble, or maybe tonight. Maybe after I'm done beating Shinsuke Nakamura, I go from being Señor Money in El Banco to El Campeón Mundial.
And Seth says, well, that sounds well and good, but there's one problem. To cash in, you need the champion down and out. Got to have me beaten and tired. But I'm fresh as a daisy, even though he has rib tape on, and I don't have a match tonight. Ashley, when I was done with you idiots, I was going to go party in Baltimore and let them sing my song in the streets. And Priest says, before you get carried away and they start a sing-along, I'll make sure you're useless. And aren't you the guy who loves to give opportunities, who loves to fight? The crowd sings, and Priest continues, I hope you have the same energy when he gets beaten by someone, maybe someone standing beside me. So all Judgment Day kind of look at each other. And Rhea says, I'm already defending my women's title tonight, but I know Dom is looking for a fight. So Dom starts to talk. He gets booed. Seth's like, hey, Dom, try it again. Try it again. More boos. And he goes, oh, come on, guys. Look, as someone as an expert in all things Money in the Bank, it seems like a poor attempt for a trap. But I would love nothing more than to slap that stash off Dom's face. I'm in a conundrum. I'm going to let you decide. So he polls the crowd. He says, should Seth Rollins beat the brakes off Dirty Dom in the middle of the ring tonight? Of course, they all cheer. Yeah. And he says, you got your answer. I'll see you punks later.
Every thought out of control. And I didn't read it out of chat. It just popped in my head. I was like, that's right.
I'm sure.
But I do always forget the bit that Maggie here had, because that is kind of a weird out the curtain, lights go out, I'm home. That's for whatever reason, that's hard for me to remember.
All right.
Out the curtain, lights go out, I'm home. Why would the lights go out? The lights go up. The lights go out.
Well, no, like when he starts his entrance, lights go out. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Lights
yeah, but he's not out the curtain then. It's before he's out the curtain then.
This is probably his like Ring of Honor entrance, Steve, he's talking
about. Okay. Oh man. Anyways. Yeah, I'm off my game, man. I need to get back on my game.
I mean, we had the day off yesterday. Whenever we're out of our routine, it just throws us for a loop every time.
Every thought's out of control. Anyways.
Every thought out of control.
Yeah. So what is this? Then we see Shinsuke making his way backstage.
Nakamura versus Damian Priest.
Hey, this is weird.
What?
Why is Mr. Money in the Bank winning matches? That's a little off-putting.
Not used to that.
He should be losing. Should be losing.
That's the trope.
Yeah, I know, but no. He got a South of Heaven to get the win here. Damian Priest did. Shinsuke Nakamura, firm depth guy, but that's okay. He had his time.
You know what? I realized something from Cody's song too. The crowd's waiting for him to start the show, so he should be the opening match every card he's on.
Well, he was opening Raw for a stretch there. He was.
I'm talking about pay-per-view
stretch. Oh yeah, dude. I don't know. That's a good point. Crowd is here. Yeah, start the show. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Alicia sent me the lyrics.
Unless they mean like in a metaphorical sense. The show doesn't start until Cody Rhodes is on it.
This is so nice. Alicia said she sent me the lyrics on Patreon. I'm going to print those bastards out and put them right there on my wall.
Study them.
Study them. Out the curtain, lights go out, I'm home. Hey, I got
Apparently
it.
It's lights go up.
Lights go up?
That's just the first verse, though.
Yeah.
You need the chorus and you need the second verse.
My father said when I was younger. Do you want a sandwich?
There's my kingdom.
Yeah, this is my kingdom. Therein lies the name of the song.
All right, we don't need to spend an hour talking about Cody's theme. Nakamura versus Priest match was tons of fun. At one point, Nakamura slides out of the ring and like taunts Rhea stomp, starts dancing, blows her a kiss, and then Dom steps in front and catches it, throws it back at Nakamura.
That was awesome and effective because Nakamura lost. Yeah, that was funny. And I love that Dom has like a smile. Like he's trying so hard not to like show people how much fun he's having out there. It was really
I know he's having tons of fun.
Yeah.
This all leads to Nakamura's looking for a Kinshasa. Priest avoids it, rolls it up against a 1 count. Hits him with the hammerlock lariat and follows with South of Heaven choke slam to get the W.
Hard times breed better, man. God, that's a tough one. That's a cool line, though. Yeah, he wins with South of Heaven. That's right.
Yes.
Anyways, after that, we get some Bloodline Civil War highlights because those are doing very well on social media.
Yes.
Later on, we've got it says we're getting Rhea versus Natalya, and then let's see here. We get some more recaps. Ronda comes out. She grabs a mic. Before she says anything, Shayna's music hits.
Good.
I do hope they go back to Shayna's old theme.
Yes, that's the only thing missing from this segment is Shayna's old theme.
if they use Ciampa's old theme, they could use Shayna's old theme.
And they're bringing back Baron's old theme in NXT.
Right. Yeah, I know. And I think that was probably a CFO $sign one.
Probably. So let's go. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
That was such a good theme.
It's a fantastic theme.
She says, I'm pretty confident when I speak for everyone when I say we're sick of trying to hear you speak out on a microphone. And Ron is like, tell me why after 10 years of loyalty means everything. She says, suddenly means nothing. Shayna, get in. Give me an explanation. You owe me that. Shayna's like, I owe you? I owe you? You're such a narcissist. I'm the only reason you're standing here right now, but I owe you? The only thing I owe anyone is an apology for bringing you into this business. Ron is, I know. Rana says, so you've held this resentment for so long. Why didn't you say anything instead of, I don't know, costing us the titles? And Shayna's like, she says, we worked so hard to end. Shayna interjects. She says, we worked? She says, I don't remember you beside me building the ring and wrestling in front of maybe like 30 people. I don't recall seeing you make make my application or my tryout. Look at me. Unlike you, I paid my dues. I scratched and clawed for a chance. I kicked the front door down, but you waltzed in the back door straight to WrestleMania. Believe it or not, I love this. And you've ruined it for me. I owe you, all right? I owe you the sobering reality that there's someone here, me, that can finally shut you up. So Ronda boots Shayna off the apron and hits a takedown. She rolls her in and locks in a sleeper, but Shayna grabs her hair, throws Ronda over, grabs the ankle and locks in an ankle lock. Ronda grabs the ropes and Shayna keeps holding until Ronda's able to kick her off. Shayna hits a gnarly knee to the head, and Shayna walks off and Ronda screams, we're not done! We're not done with you!
This was so good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was so good. Then we're backstage. Maxine has Otis in a headlock, and Gable is screaming out instructions. He says, that's great. Are you ready for your first match? And Maxine says, not am I ready, but the 4th of July is coming early tonight because there's going to be fireworks. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of those Viking Raiders underestimating me and underestimating your coaching abilities. So Gable looks into camera. He says this to camera. He says, you underestimate me. I'm a 5-star man, a 5-star coach. I'm an Olympian. I passed my skills onto my number one guy, Otis, and the Alpha Queen, Maxine. Tonight, we're going to use those skills on the eve of America's birthday to slap those Vikings right in the face with the biggest dose of patriotism you've ever seen. And Otis, he really leans into it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's good stuff. After that, we get tag team turmoil with Liv and Raquel ringside on commentary. It was Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Caden Carter and Katana Chance, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, Dana Brooke and Tegan Knox, and then Nikki Cross and Emma, although Nikki Cross seemed a bit more concerned with just Candice. So Emma and Nikki make their way out. It shows a video of Nikki asking a team with Candice, but she's like, I already asked Indy because she's like my fake daughter. And then Emma's like, hey, I'll be on your team. And then, we get... Who's first? Indy and Candice.
Indy and Candice are taking on Chelsea and Sonya first. Yeah.
Yeah. So Candice ends up missing a moonsault. Chelsea hits an I'm prettier, and Sonya hits a running knee to get that elimination. Next up, it's Nikki and Emma. Emma knocks Sonya off the apron. Green hits a Russian leg sweep as Emma looks for a tag, but Nikki's on the outside after being distracted by Candice and Indy. Green hits an I'm prettier with another running knee for another elimination there. We get Tegan and Dana next. They're immediately eliminated by that same combo.
Yeah.
Then we get Caden and Katana. Man, they're so great. They're so much fun.
I know.
But didn't quite matter.
That Rana spot off of Carter's shoulders. That Chance
God, that's what I was trying
Chelsea
to think of. Yeah.
Crazy.
Holy shit. I did not expect that one at all.
No. But rad. Chelsea and Sonya ran the table here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
Last pinning Carter after Chelsea hit the I'm prettier.
I really hope, I know they're now like number one contenders or whatever, and it seems like they're going to do Rhea and Raquel next. I'd be okay if those tag titles went over to Sonya and Chelsea.
Oh, totally.
I think they're awesome, and if that gives them an opportunity to do more character stuff, more funny stuff, man, I'd be down with that.
Heck yeah.
I really would be. That'd be awesome.
Heck yeah. That'd be a lot of fun. So we get a quick shot of Becky walking backstage. We go to commercial, come back. We get another one of these pretty well done Bronson Reed video packages.
Mm-hmm.
And then Becky comes to the ring for a promo. She says, the man has come around to Baltimore. Well, I didn't win Money in the Bank, but that's okay. I can move on from that. What I can't move on from is that high-pitched ringing in my ear that is Trish Stratus. Can't think of a better place or time to end this than right here, right now. Trish, come down and let's fight. So at first, no Trish theme, and then eventually Trish theme hits. Trish, Zoe make the way to the ramp, and Trish has her head down with like a cowboy hat over it. And then she reveals that she has the face mask on that she had, I don't know, like in probably the early aughts or something
ages
like that.
ago,
Yeah, she did a story where she had the face mask on. So then Becky laughs, look at your stupid face. Let's get a close-up of her stupid face. So Trish backs the camera off and says, you think this is funny? And Becky says, I do. And Trish says, ha ha, I broke Trish's face. Her money maker. Very funny, Becky. You should y'all should shut up because I'm still prettier than any of you even in this mask. In fact, y'all need a mask just to hide all that ugliness. I would love to indulge your request. However, I am not currently medically cleared because you broke my face. And Becky says, okay, well, I regret none of that. But if you can't fight, why don't you send your lapdog down and we can fight? And Trish says, you sure you want that after seeing her dominate? And Becky says, well, she's better than your broke ass anyways. And Trish says, excuse me, no one is better than me. No one, including you. Maybe one day Zoe might be better than me thanks to my tutelage. But currently, no one is better than me because I am the greatest of all time. I love how calm Trish remains through everything.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have to raise her voice. It's great.
Yeah. No, I like her character stuff here. I think it's good. So they go back and forth a little bit more. Becky calls out Zoe a little bit more. Trish is like, I'm here because I'm the face of the women's division. I built this place. She says, I got to say the irony isn't lost on me that you actually try to break the face of the division, and Zoe's going to break your face. So Becky's like, come on, let's go. And they're about to walk down there, and Trish is like, oh. So you know what? I actually have a doctor's appointment right now, so we have to leave this place called Baltimore, or Balta-less, as I like to call it. Ooh. Good crowd, too, by the way.
It was a decent crowd, yeah.
It says, keep your calendar open next week for Zoe. And they walk off. End scene.
Yeah. Then we got the replay of Cody, Brock stuff, and then Jackie Redmond, who I believe was making her Raw debut as interviewer, is waiting on the stage, introduces Cody. He gets full another entrance.
Full entrance. When I was younger, my father said, breed breaks better.
Hard times makes better men or something like that.
Bread breeds better.
Bread.
Hey, Daddy.
So Cody says, tonight is your first night here on Monday Night Raw. I think everyone can. Can we say hi, Jackie? And so everybody in the crowd says, hi, Jackie. And he says, I think you'll come to find that I am a man of my word. I said after Night of Champions, I'll be waiting for Brock. As the Beast reared his head, I spoke his language, and I said, welcome back, Brock. We are not done yet. Brock broke my arm. I busted his face. There's no way we continue to coexist on Raw. I want another shot at Brock Lesnar. I'll fight him any night. I'll fight him every night. Thank you very much. So we have a loser leaves Raw match then?
Maybe. Possibly. No, Brock can't leave Raw.
He's free agent. He can go where he wants.
Just be a SmackDown guy.
No.
I think it's just like loser loses the feud, you know. Winner
just
gets
him. Just
Brock
him saying we can't continue to coexist on Raw. Just thought popped in my head. Well, loser leaves Raw then.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah, sure. I mean, what's Brock gonna do? Go over? There's like nobody on SmackDown. Brock versus Austin Theory.
I know Brock can't contend for the title.
Yeah, right.
As long as Roman's champ.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do. What do you think? What do you think they're gonna do with Seth at SummerSlam?
Might be Finnegan.
Yeah, it could be. You think they do Brock versus Seth for the world title?
No, the SummerSlam is Brock and Cody.
Oh God, what am I thinking? Golly. Yeah. Is Brock allowed to go after the world title?
Yeah, he can't go after Roman.
He can't go after Roman.
Can't go after Roman.
But he can go after the world title. That's new.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they should do that. He wins that, and then him and Roman do the unification title.
You want that again, huh?
Sure, why not? Yeah. Anyways, I knew it was missing some piece of the puzzle. I was like, wait, what's Brock doing at SummerSlam? Oh, that's right. We just talked about that. No, Cody was very much a fucking politician in this, too.
Oh, he really was. He really was.
Shaking hands and stuff. Yeah, I'm still hungover from yesterday. I didn't even drink. So after that, we had
I didn't either. Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Well, I can't because of my thing.
Oh, that's right.
Anyways.
I was just on the go so much, I didn't really have an opportunity.
I have a week more being dry. 6-person tag match. Oh, man. You ever seen a crowd pop so hard for a suplex?
Yeah, no.
This was awesome. So we had Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, Otis, and Maxine versus the Viking Raiders. Valhalla is here. And then, yeah, of course, the crowd popped big. Number one for Otis doing the the worm, but then number two when Maxine did it, and then she just hit like a suplex on Valhalla. That was awesome, man. That was great for her. And it just goes shows, you do this weeks and weeks of build. They got great chemistry, and she's training, and then she just hits a suplex, and the crowd goes nuts for it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty great. So in the end, Maxine hits Valhalla with a sunset flip to get the roll-up win here. And then afterwards, after the match, Alpha Academy lift Maxine up, and they're celebrating. We see replays of Rhea just destroying Natalya over the last few weeks. And then backstage, Natalya is seen talking with Liv and Raquel. She faces Rhea later on. Up next, though, we're going to talk Ricochet and Logan Paul. So we thought maybe that LA Knight might be facing Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Looks like that's a nah.
Man, it honestly seems like he's going to do Austin Theory now. They did a thing at a like house show.
Live event, yeah.
Live event. Yeah.
Definitely looks that way. New U.S. champion with everybody.
Yeah.
So they talk. They showed the Spanish Fly bit with Ricochet and Logan Paul. Ricochet has an interview. He's got this great red turtleneck on, bright red, fantastic. So Ricochet says, "Look, many people thought I didn't bring anything Logan didn't bring anything that matched in the first place. But I know firsthand. Look at the Rumble and look at Money in the Bank. The kid can handle himself, and I respect that. But what I don't respect is he gets in my face after, because they'd had a brawl backstage, Logan Paul and Ricochet after.
Good looking brawl too. Like it looked.
Yeah,
they did a good job with it. Yeah.
What I don't respect is he gets in my face after, when the fact is it just wasn't his night. So I'm going to issue a challenge. I'm not doing it on social media like some keyboard warrior. We do it big here. So how's about next week on Raw, you meet me in the ring face to face? This
is a really smart move. To have Logan Paul and Ricochet. Logan Paul, obviously, he's got to get a win. I mean, he's a featured guy when he's there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have him up against LA Knight, because LA Knight will kill him in the promos. And if Logan, and I actually like the way Logan Paul sort of described this on his show. I didn't watch it, but I read the transcript.
Oh, the spot? Yeah.
About the spot, and he basically said,
the clip, yeah.
And it's great because there's a lot of respect just paid to the sport of professional wrestling, because he was like, I don't entirely know what I'm doing in there. Like, I'm not great at improv. When something goes wrong, like the spot did, I kind of freeze. And Ricochet just went ahead and launched us into it. Turned out kind of scraped up, but I was okay. And but then he sort of turned sort of in story, in character, and said, but this guy ruined... I felt he was unprofessional, and he ruined my shot at Money in the Bank, which is kind of awesome, because you get a little bit of the reality, like, oh, this is, what happens. And then he turns it into an angle, which I thought was very smart on his part.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's ideal. And on top of that, if he's going to be positioned as, I'm the guy who is still trying to get my feet under me, maybe that's going to be a face position for him. And Ricochet could benefit as being the bad guy here, because Ricochet honestly needs something beyond what he's been doing lately. And maybe he can take a little bit of the bitterness from the Bronson Reed Shinsuke stuff and carry that over to try to be a bad guy against Logan Paul.
The issue is that no one likes Logan Paul, Steve.
I mean, I think that the fan base appreciates his work in the ring so far. They appreciate what they saw with that Spanish Fly, and I'm
sure they do. They can appreciate someone work, but not care for them.
It'll be interesting to see if the crowd responds to him.
Yeah,
because I honestly at this point I don't know. Like I am not a big fan of Logan Paul outside of WWE, but I really appreciate what the guy does when he shows up in WWE.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of the fan base might feel the same way. Remains to be seen.
Next up, we had Rhea versus Natalya. If you have not seen this match, go out of your way to check it out.
Holy crap.
Phenomenal stuff. Natalya attacks Rhea as she's making her entrance. Just intensity and urgency. Great stuff. Down towards the finish, Rhea's going for a frog splash. He says this is for Dom Dom. Natalya gets her feet up during the frog splash, sends Rhea into the ring post, and then hits a British Bulldog style running power slam. She's looking for the sharpshooter, gets it on. Rhea gets to the ropes to break the hold. Rhea then rolls out of the ring. Well, Natalya goes for like a sliding drop kick, but Rhea escapes that, gets back in the ring, hits a headbutt, and then deadlifts Natalya up for a riptide to get the win.
Yep. After that, she starts beating up Natalya, and then Liv and Raquel come down to make the save, and Rhea and Raquel have more of a face-off there. She's on the outside, and Raquel sort of walks up, to her in the ring.
Yeah. They're staring at each other,
Yeah. I like this next part, man, because it means we might actually get some Miz that's like, fun to watch.
Maybe.
So Ciampa did one of his old school NXT promos from inside, like backstage. Remember, he's
sitting on a chair.
He stood inside of a little storage unit or something.
It wasn't like one of the box trucks.
It was like a truck. Huh? Yeah. It's all pixely and stuff. Anyways, he says the difference between Miz and Ciampa is if I have a problem with Miz, I walk down and I punch him in his teeth. He decided to do it behind my back when he had the chance. There's a silver lining here. The Miz is a guy who's accomplished everything, but over the last couple of years, he's had loss after loss until finally that spark is back in his eye. That ruthless aggression is back, and that's great. Miz, I want you to listen closely. Next time we meet, you bring that same energy, and I'll bring the chip on my shoulder. Now you've shown me your cards, but you have no idea what I'm holding in my hand. And lo and behold, we had a really good Miz promo.
We had a response, no less. He says, you want to talk cards? I don't care if you have high card, 2-pair, 3-pair, 4 of a kind. I am the undisputed royal flush. I am not bluffing. You want to talk about me losing? You want to call me a coward? The last person who called me a coward is gone. Everyone I've taken under my wing is gone, but I'm still here. So who's the loser? But you're right. I do have a spark in my eye. I feel better than ever before. So bring your chip next week to our no DQ match because I want the best version of Tommaso Ciampa because you're going to see the best version of me. You and everyone will put respect to my name because I'm the Miz and I'm awesome.
Yeah, that was just a really good promo there.
Yeah.
It's been years. It's been years since we've seen that type of Miz. Like ages.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Then we get a Bloodline Civil War recap. And then Matt Riddle music hits. He has a match against Giovanni Vinci coming up, but not quite yet. Before that, we see Rhea walking backstage, and she sees Io Sky. So Io says something in Japanese to Rhea, raises her case and says, the briefcase, and says, see you around. And Rhea says, try it, and it'll be the biggest mistake of your life. So Io smiles and walks off. Dom steps in with Damian Priest. So Dom asks Priest if he's talked to Finn. And he says, not since Saturday. And Rhea says, you see what happened? Liv and Raquel came down to help Natalya and get in my business, even after I warned Raquel. If they get in my business again, they'll regret it. Dom says, just like Seth Rollins is going to regret it when he steps in the ring with Dirty Dom because I'm going to be the last one singing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Then we had Matt Riddle versus Giovanni Vinci.
No victory for Vinci this time.
Sadly, no. Matt Riddle got, roll through the ankle lock, scored a flash pin to get the win here.
Like a roll-up, basically.
Yeah. So, but immediately afterwards, Kaiser and Vinci attack Riddle. Drew's music hits. Drew hits a big boot on Kaiser and a Glasgow kiss for Vinci. Stares at Gunther. Goes for a Claymore, hits Vinci, stares at Gunther, gets on the apron, he slowly gets down and leaves while Drew and Riddle are in the ring. We get a little bit more from them here in a second. Dom comes out, and we get that backstage bit with Riddle and Drew. Riddle's like, hey, bro, thanks for helping me with Imperium. Byron walks up. He's like, hey, what's going on? And Drew's like, I'm back. And Riddle's like, now that Drew's back, I think we should face Imperium next week. And then you can hear some lady say, take your top off. And he's like, I can hear you saying that. He says, Riddle, I think that's a great idea. Next week, let's do that next week. But tonight, let's go get some pints. And Riddle's like, yeah, I'll definitely get some Jimmies. And they walk off together.
Yep. And then we had our main event, Dom Mysterio taking on Seth freaking Rollins. Seth still has the rib tape on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Not the DDP style rib tape, unfortunately. He just has the kinesiology tape. Fun match. Dom starts to hit a bunch of frog splashes on Seth towards the finish, and he goes for a third one. Seth gets his knees up, starts to come back, hits a couple clothesline, the rolling clothesline as well, forearm, and then a backbreaker. He has a running knee like a shining wizard and looks for a pedigree, but Priest gets on the apron, so then Seth clotheslines Dom out, hits him, hits a dive onto both the Priest and Dom, puts Dom back of the ring, hits a rolling elbow to the front, one of the back, and then Priest gets in there and then just hits Seth with a choke slam. So Seth wins by DQ. So Priest just annihilates Seth as Rhea's holding on the briefcase. It ends up down by the floor. He's looking to put him through the announce table. Seth escapes that, hits a super kick, is looking for a pedigree, but then Dom attacks Seth with the briefcase, and all of a sudden Priest gets back in the ring, and he's about to cash in. He's in there. He's on the apron, 1 foot in the ring, about to cash in with Seth in there. So Finn runs in out of nowhere and hits Seth, which sends Seth into Priest, knocking him off the apron.
Mm-hmm.
So Priest, so Finn goes up on top, about to hit him with a coup de grace, and then Priest gets on the apron. It's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You cost me my opportunity to cash in. And Finn says, yeah, just like you cost me at Money in the Bank. So they start arguing, allows Seth to slip out of the ring. Dom goes to confront him. He eats a pedigree. And so they all run over towards him to check on him, and while Priest and Finn are still arguing.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Ends with this great shot, too, of Priest and Finn arguing, and then in between them, Rhea is cradling what looks like an assassinated Dom.
Yeah.
Because he's out. And
Yeah.
she's like looking at both of them, like yelling. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Good.
Just Judgment Day, an absolute mess, but just really, really well framed, really well executed. Like, I loved Dom, the guy who kind of like, obviously they still see him as the lesser member, and he's trying to be like, guys, Seth is getting away. Your opportunity is running away right now. And the poor dude tries to go and get Seth, and he ends up with a pedigree for his troubles. I thought that was just really... it was just good writing, It's just good, like, it's well thought out writing, and it's like, it's so refreshing to see that.
Yeah, and the attention to the little details that really enhance the story they're telling, for sure.
Totally. All right.
Want to answer some questions?
Absolutely.
All right. DJ Fluffy here says, Bloodline is dying. Judgment Day is crumbling. How much longer until Imperium is to separate?
Man, Kaiser and Vinci need to get some wins before that happens. They need to stick with that guy.
Otherwise, they'd probably flounder on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. D. Eddie says, for factions, do you prefer small groups like 3 or 4, or huge stables like NWO or even Bullet Club?
Somewhere between 3 and 6 members, I feel like, is ideal. Anything more than 6, and then, then you have, it feels like, because like in New Japan, where Chaos is a faction, but it kind of just feels like a loose affiliation more often than not.
Right, yeah.
I mean, Bullet Club's a little bit different, but in LIJ, but some of the factions in New Japan, the large ones, the really large ones, just kind of feel like, hey, we're kind of buddies, but it's not like we really do everything together.
I'm going to say 4 is the minimum for me.
All right.
A 3 to me is just, it's like a tag team with one more person. Like, I need at least 4. 4 rounds it out. You have 1 singles, a tag, and then, like either a mid or like, a women's division competitor. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I like when you can dip your hands into, so like 5. You can dip your hands in every division. The women's division, the men's singles, heavyweight, the mid card, and the tag. So I'm going to go 5.
5 is the perfect number for you. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love Judgment Day. So 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
So that's right in the middle of my 3 to 6. Okay, we're in agreement.
Right. But not 3. I don't want 3.
I don't mind 3.
If you're saying in between, then you're saying 4 and 5. But if you're saying 3, I don't like 3.
I'm saying anywhere between 3 and 6, because New Day,
including 3 and 6.
Yes, because New Day, 3 members, one of the greatest factions ever.
But I consider them more of a tag team.
Shield, one of the greatest factions ever. 3 men.
Those are just 3.
3 members.
That's just
3 members.
Guys. Those are 3 clearly solo.
No, you're talking about just 5 guys.
Well, that's 5 guys. That's 5. How many are in just 5 guys?
Just 5 guys, Steve.
God damn it, we're such dads. My assertion that Ricochet is going to be a bad guy, that is not going over well. All right, nope. You know what? Trying to throw something out there. I guess everybody fucking hates Logan Paul.
You gotta try something sometimes,
Somebody was like, what about Crypto Zoo? Yeah, I guess Crypto Zoo, Oh, man.
My goodness.
Not going to stand a chance as a good guy.
Steven here asked, with the success of groups like the Bloodline, Judgment Day, and the LWO, could you see WWE becoming more faction-oriented going forward? I'd love that.
Oh, dude,
Great.
absolutely. More factions, the better, as long as it's got 4 to 5 people.
Between 3 and 6, because you get between 3 and 6 people involved in like more stories, and that's good.
Yeah. East Side here says, last night on NXT, Von Wagner powerbombed the crap out of Javier Bardal to love from the fans. It reminded me of Sid in his brief ECW run where he'd show up, powerbomb some jabroni, and then leave to huge cheers. And that might be perfect for Von Wagner. My question is, what old one-dimensional gimmick would you like each to be brought back, and what wrestler would you have use them? So somebody does one thing.
So it's not exactly a gimmick, but this is one of my favorite lines ever in a promo. It's when the Giant in WCW said, "It's easy to be one-dimensional when that's all that you need."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What a great line.
That was a really good line. Yeah.
Doesn't answer the question, though.
Well, it's because he had one thing back then. Although he was actually fairly, it's ironic
Drop
because
kicks and stuff off the top rope. I know,
because Giant was kind of awesome back then. Yeah,
yeah,
he was like one of our favorites. What one-dimensional thing? Man, I don't. That's such a specific question.
It is. It is. Again, yesterday we took off, broke the routine.
Waymaker is calling me on Facebook. I put Facebook back on my phone, which I never should have.
Why did you do that?
Why is Waymaker calling me during
I don't
show?
know. But if you don't put Facebook back on there, he doesn't have the opportunity to do it.
Well, he does WhatsApp. WhatsApp is how I talk to Rob.
Yeah.
I don't like answering calls.
Well, it's certainly not in the middle of a show.
I just need to tell him that straight up. Wayne, I don't like answering calls.
Eater Waffles, what a good name, says, why is Damian Priest considered the future? WWE and LA Knight is considered too old to be the future while both are the same age?
That is a great question. It
is
really is a great question. And I don't really have an answer, but I kind of understand it.
I wonder if the idea is, it's not necessarily a perspective I agree with, but I wonder if the thing is, like, Damian Priest, like in his years before joining NXT, maybe it felt like there was untapped potential with him and that they finally have unlocked. Like we're seeing the best Damian Priest has to offer right now. Whereas with Eli Drake, LA Knight, we've seen his best. Maybe that's their philosophy.
This might be a really silly question. Does Priest look younger than LA Knight?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Is there a difference in his general presentation that appeals, that just sort of says, oh, he's a bit, I don't know, like younger feeling? If that's not
yeah,
too weird.
I mean, I guess at the, I guess in terms of his Priest packaging, it's more metal, and they might, especially with Triple H in charge, he might consider that more relevant. If that's what you're trying, I think that's what you're trying to get at, kind of, yeah.
So, okay. Zondo here kind of feels what I'm saying.
All right.
Priest is spiritually 30. LA Knight is spiritually 55. So, like, all this talk about Kevin Nash referring to LA Knight as a rock ripoff. LA Knight does sort of have. I mean, I understand what Nash is saying, although I disagree. I think they're different characters.
Yeah.
But, like, obviously some of the cadence is rock. But LA Knight, I don't know, I guess could fit in the Attitude Era. Damian Priest might feel a little bit more today. I don't know. Is there anything?
Yeah, LA Knight has a bit more of a throwback quality to him.
Okay.
Whereas Priest, given, like his presentation, maybe feels a bit more relevant to today's zeitgeist, if you will.
Okay, that's sort of what I'm getting at, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of what I was feeling. And I honestly think that maybe it could. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, obviously when Triple H was loading up on NXT, he was not afraid to hire people who have a lot of experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with LA Knight, I don't know. I do think that there might be something to be said about, you look at Damian Priest and you see a guy who, from a character standpoint, might offer more possibilities, because I think that he's not as one note as LA Knight is. And granted, I love that note. I think that note is great.
I don't know if one note is necessarily the right phrase. Well defined. Yeah,
sure.
LA Knight's character, Eli Drake's character, has largely remained the same since, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
LA Knight is LA Knight. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's who he's going to be.
With Damian Priest, I feel like there's more room for
dimension and
dimension and complexity.
You could take twists and turns with his character, definitely.
Yeah, and that lends itself to sort of more storyline possibilities.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that as a knock on LA Knight at all. I love both characters. I think they're both great.
It's easy to be one dimensional. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Zach Sparks here says, with Seth freaking Rollins and Dirty Dominic Mysterio, can you see any of the wrestlers going back to using nicknames as their official titles? They're really pushing the Dirty Dom thing on Raw.
I love it, by the way. I think that's awesome. Because it was in his lower third, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Put it on the roster page, too. That's awesome. Talk about something for a guy to really dig into. Oh, here we go. John Hosey's on the same page with me with this question. Is it possible Judgment Day's turmoil is just a ploy to get Seth to drop his guard? I mean, I think a case can be, I totally understand what you're saying, and logically it makes sense. It's like you had him dead to rights. But Seth is very sneaky. He's very sneaky. Maybe they're waiting for the ultimate moment. I hope so.
I mean, they had a pretty good moment at Money in the Bank.
But they need a better moment.
Nikyle here says, how awesome was it to see Eddie Kingston win his first title in New Japan? He's New Japan's strong champion. That was so cool. You could tell it meant a ton to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've been we've cut out our Impact and NXT reviews, but I want to go back and watch the Independence Day shows. Because it seemed like there's some cool stuff there, and I want to catch up a little bit with that.
Yeah.
That's great for Eddie. Bucket Dipper says, are you guys excited? So Gable Steveson showed up last night on NXT.
Yeah.
He says, are you guys excited for for him in WWE? He says, personally, never saw the hype. So this is what I'd love to see with Gable Steveson. He shows up in NXT. Maybe they do how they were doing the Masked Attacker gimmick? Maybe they do another one. And people start to put together, hey, Gable Stevenson's now in NXT. There's this Masked Attacker. And so all these accusations start flying at Gable Steveson. And so the people accusing him are like, okay, listen, we need a new campaign. And it's Google Gable Steveson accusations.
Okay. That's good then.
They should totally run with that.
They should do that,
for people to Google Gable Steveson accusations.
Yes.
That's how I would be okay with it.
There you go.
And then he just doesn't show up again.
That's it.
Because that would be my preference.
Cameron Bordalazzo says, do you think creative for the women's division is about to be heavily featured going forward? It seems like a ton of women on the roster have purpose now, which is awesome. Yes, there definitely seems to be a renewed emphasis on telling stories in the women's division that would be outside of the title picture. And that's great.
Yeah. No, I like that.
It was something that was lacking for WWE programming for too long.
It was. It totally was. And no, I really like to see that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sad boy Mon Chode says, have you guys taken a look at Super Eye Patch Wolf's video, The Unreality of Wrestling? It talks about Roman Reigns. I've seen parts of it, but it's also I think an hour and a half.
That's a really long one, right?
Yeah. And I kind of feel like I know when it's something that I kind of know a lot about, I'm like, I don't really need to watch this.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean, it's getting a lot of views and everything.
Yeah.
And it's reaching a new audience, I think. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Mayor Planet Houston says, since MJF appears to be a fan of going in Raw, what if he invited you to party with him like Adam Cole? Would you go? What would you do with him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wherever he wants to go. He's the rich one.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants to,
Nothing else. Some interesting stories could be told from the day,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. See, is this guy really, as much of a piece of shit as he comes off as?
Yeah, yeah. Just a Hippo here says, what stipulation would like to see the next Roman and Cody match have? Mine would be an undisputed title on a pole match. You want to have a main event of WrestleMania be a pole match, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's great. That's a great idea.
How about this? Roman has 3 titles, right? He has the new one,
True.
WWE title, and the Universal.
True.
Why 1 pole? Have 3 poles. You got to get all the belts off.
You get Paul Heyman on another pole.
Oh, my goodness.
Wise man on a pole. Oh, they did Judy Bagwell.
Yeah, I know.
That
She was
went over
it was a forklift, though,
Yeah. Heyman on a forklift. That works, too.
Yeah.
Shark cage, Heyman. Sure, whatever works.
Yeah, see? That's good.
Let's see here. What is this question? KM Davis says, is there any food that you like the taste of but hate when other things try to taste like it? He says, for example, I like bananas, but I hate banana flavored stuff.
That's a good one too. Outside of what banana Laffy Taffy, that's good. I don't like fake watermelon flavor at all. At all.
Interesting.
Don't like it. Anything that's got the fake watermelon flavor, I don't like it because it tastes nothing like the real thing.
That doesn't bother me all that much. The watermelon, the banana does. I love bananas, and I love banana cream pie.
Yeah, banana Laffy Taffy is the one fake banana flavored thing that I can get into.
I'm not into Laffy Taffy.
Or could get into. I don't even candy anymore.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think I'm good with pretty much everything else. But bananas definitely, that's like, banana flavor, no good.
Yeah, the favorite customer says fake strawberry is bad. Yeah, a lot of the fake fruit flavors are kind of, very few of them actually taste like the fruit they're trying to emulate.
DJ Mott says, if LA Knight, wins the U.S. title soon, what should be a Mitch stipulation that he makes synonymous with his title reign? So, of course, Cena had the open challenge. What would LA Knight, what would be his signature in order to make that U.S. title reign really mean something and be synonymous with him?
Didn't he used to have the dummy button?
Yeah, the dummy, yeah.
Bring that back.
Okay, that's good. That's good. No, I like
and you put one of those dummy buttons on the top of every turnbuckle. You got to touch each dummy button, and if you do that, you win.
I mean, it should be something kind of like that. What if it's like, see who can come closest to making him crack in a promo, because he's Teflon, and that's he'd be like Bruno.
I know.
With that.
I know. Whoa, Sloth King here says banana flavors are based on the banana that went extinct about 100 years ago. So that's what banana used to taste like?
Kind of weird fact is that? I'm interested now. I want to know more. Super chat here from Coach John Pliskin says, could you see Lone Wolf Baron Corbin joining Judgment Day?
That'd be interesting.
So happy to see this version back.
Not much for Lone Wolf then, huh?
Well, therein lies the irony. What was it? What was that Adam Sandler? What's his face movie? The Airheads? Was it Airheads?
One with Brendan Fraser in it?
Yeah. They're like a metal band.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What's your name?" The Lone Wolves. You're not exactly lone.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's gonna do it. Dang MQ says. So wait, there was an NWO banana. Some sort of weird fake banana, or is like a different real banana?
So I guess we're eating the NWO banana then.
D. Eddie says there was a banana blight. What?
A banana what?
Blight.
Oh, D. Eddie with a membership here too. Thank you, D. Eddie.
Oh man. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the show as we try to figure out this banana conundrum. The Lone Rangers, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yes, the Lone Rangers.
Not exactly lone. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm still recovering from yesterday.
I still feel like you're shook because you didn't remember the lyrics to Cody's theme. I feel like that's still bugging you
today. Yeah, it didn't start off good for me today.
I feel like that's been kind of like hampering you the whole show.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I suggest Logan Paul's a good guy. I don't know. I'm all over the map today, dude.
I guess so. So study those
when
lyrics.
When I was younger,
we'll have a quiz tomorrow.
Bread, bread. Whoa!
We'll have a quiz tomorrow. And if you pass, then guess what? You don't have to worry about it anymore.
What, there's a quiz tomorrow? What's tomorrow?
Yeah, on Cody's, the lyrics to Cody's theme.
Oh, I'll know them all.
All right, good.
I'll ace it.
Anything less than that, F. fail.
It's either an A or an F, really?
Yeah, nothing in between. Pass or fail is what you got to deal with, Steve.
All right, I can do it. What was
All
it?
right, pressure's on.
Adrenaline in my soul, every thought out of control. Here,
Good.
you know who definitely knows the lyrics?
Nope.
Do
All right,
it
see you later.
all to
Goodbye,
get
everybody.
them
The
off
show's
their feet.
over.
Pants are down,
Leave this
underwear. Who
over
needs
for
that
me.
when you're gone?